Welcome back to Thoughts from a Bookworm. I'm Abigail Grace. Today we're going to be talking about The Grandest Game. I honestly was not sure if I wanted to talk about this book. I did enjoy it way more than I was anticipating. I know I mentioned when I did The Brothers Hawthorne Part 2 that Grayson kind of grew on me a little bit, and kind of like by default, Gigi and Savannah grew on me a little bit. This book was interesting because there wasn't really a whole lot of plot. It was like 80% puzzles, which is fine. I have nothing against it, but for it to be like a topic of discussion was a bit. I wasn't. I honestly don't even know how this episode is going to turn out, but I will say I did enjoy it. I finished the book in like 2 days. It hooked me way more than I was anticipating it hooking me. I did not have high hopes for this book. We get triple. I don't know what dual, like the three equivalent of dual is, but we get three alternating POVs. We get Rohan, who is the proprietor's like factorum from the Brothers Hawthorne. We get Lyra and we get Gigi, which really quickly I want to talk about Lyra and her name pronunciation. So Jennifer Lynn Barnes has been posting about the Grandest Game for a long time. Like she's been hyping it up, advertising it, which is great. We knew right away that Lyra was the main character. Lyra. So in my head, you say her name Lyra. Then in like the first chapter of Lyra, her POV, she tells us, like Lyra tells us, that her name is pronounced Lyra, like Leera. That really irritated me for the dumbest reason. One, because I feel like that's a very odd way to pronounce the spelling of Lyra. I feel like not many people would pronounce it that way. So if you're going to be advertising about this brand new character who we've never met before, and you're going to spell her name one way but pronounce it a different way, like, clue us in, because have had this character in my head as Lyra. So when I'm reading it, Lyra comments, oh, somebody called her by her name and they pronounce it correctly, Lyra. I'm like, your name isn't Lyra, sis. It's Lyra. I don't know. I also was kind of disappointed that we didn't get a Grayson POV. It felt pretty, like, dumb that we didn't get a Grayson POV, but we got a Gigi POV and we got a Lyra and a Rohan, which I literally, I know I said this in Brothers Hawthorne, the first episode of the Brothers Hawthorne, so I will probably change my mind reading The Grandest Game a second time. As of right now, I don't care about Lyra and I don't care about Rohan. We got a little bit of backstory into each of their lives, like before they entered the Grandest Game, which was good. We got some background. I still just really don't care about either of these two characters. I also know that Lyra was also supposed to be like the love interest, the main love interest for Grayson, this climactic, he finally gets his girl, this and that. Anytime they had any interaction in the Grandest Game, I got so much secondhand embarrassment. I don't know if it was just me. I'm pretty sure that I'm in the minority here because nobody else seems to be talking about it. But their interactions to me were so forced, so awkward, so like just secondhand embarrassment cringe. They kissed toward the end and it was so like just out of left field. I feel like they had no chemistry together. The whole drawing scene later on was so awkward and like stupid. Like that was such a stupid challenge to have in the Grandest Game. It was kind of late. I don't know. I know it sounds like I didn't enjoy this book. I really did enjoy it. It was a fun read, but it had some very, in my opinion, major flaws and issues and just weirdly done things. I don't know why we had a Rohan POV instead of a Savannah POV. Again, we met Rohan in the Brothers Hawthorne, but he was in it for all of, a handful of times. I have no connection to him. I really don't care how the Grandest Game affects him. I am way more interested in how the Grandest Game would affect Savannah because there's at least a connection. We got the main cast and we're kind of like starting to branch off from the main cast. Then we're branching off. Grayson is technically a main cast, but okay, his sisters are now like the sub-main cast. And now we've got this random Rohan and Lyra person who, like, where the heck did they come from? It just, I would have so much rather read about Grayson, Gigi, and Savannah. Like, if you're going to deviate from Grayson, Jameson, and Avery, okay, fine, that's your choice as the author, but, like, give me something here. So that was kind of irritating. I did really enjoy Gigi's POV chapters, especially because it wasn't first person. I feel like if it was first person, it would have gotten to be a bit much, but because it was third person, I actually really liked her chapters. I like that we get a little bit more insight into how she processes things and how her like sunny character that's not just necessarily how she was born, that it's kind of like a choice that she makes, which I liked and I thought was good information. It also ended on a cliffhanger, which I wasn't expecting. I just assumed, and I don't know why I assumed this, I just assumed that the Grandest Game was going to have, that the book, the Grandest Game, was going to have like a winner, a conclusion, an end, and it ended on a pretty major cliffhanger, which I'm not mad about. I actually really liked the ending, and like I'm looking forward to it, and I feel like, and I'm going to say this now so that, you know, if it happens, I have proof that I was actually thinking about this. I feel like we are going to have a major Grayson, Savannah, and Eve showdown. Like, I feel like the three of them, either all together or like separately in pairs, are going to go off. Like, Grayson is going to lay into Eve. He's going to lay into Savannah. I feel like Avery and Savannah could even have a showdown. I'm very curious for Glorious Rivals to come out, but we're not quite there yet. Like I said, the majority of the book wasn't plot. Like, it was just the puzzles. You know, characters were presented with the puzzles, and then we would go through, because how it's broken up is all the characters in the Grandest Game, or all the players in the Grandest Game, are divided into groups. Grayson wasn't initially supposed to be a player. He was supposed to kind of be like a moderator, but he got thrown in to the game, kind of like he didn't even know that he was being thrown into the game, which I kind of wonder why that happened too. That didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I don't know if that's something that will come out later, or if it was just the author's way of including tension with him and Lyra. I don't know. That kind of was a little bit odd. It was very fun. I liked seeing how all the puzzles were sorted, were dealt with. It was one of those books, puzzle-solving books, where you as the reader cannot figure it out, which is kind of irritating. There were a handful of riddles or puzzles or clues or whatever in the original trilogy where if you thought about it or you stopped reading, you could figure it out, which I really like it when that kind of stuff happens, especially in like mystery novels. It just makes me feel really like included and stuff. This book, there was literally nothing that you as the reader could figure out, even because there was, when the girl on the phone, who was Lyra, when she called Grayson in the Brothers Hawthorne, one of the things she said was, "What starts a bet, not that." And like, that's the riddle that her dad left before he killed himself. So that riddle's been spinning around in my head. I've been like chewing on it and thinking about it. And then it comes out that it's part of a larger puzzle and we weren't given all the clues. And as soon as they're given the last clue, it's like, oh, boom, that's what that means. So that was kind of like frustrating, and like it would have been more enjoyable. I would have maybe felt more immersed in the world if I was kind of tracking along with the characters or puzzling through stuff with them. But as it was, I was really kind of just watching to see what happened because I was told very little. So overall, I did enjoy it. It was very entertaining, but when I was like breaking it down and analyzing it and thinking about it, it had its issues, its problems. Please don't do that. That I wish would have been different. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that the Grandest Game is the first in a new trilogy. So there are, I know there's Grandest or Greatest Rivals. Glorious Rivals is coming out next year, and then I'm assuming a third book will be out the year after that. So at the end of this trilogy, a lot of the questions or the confusions or the things that I think right now are silly or dumb might come out to be very intentional, very purposeful. So I'm not like condemning it right now, just reading it right now, not having any other context or any other follow-up book. It did fall a little flat. Like I said, I did enjoy it, and I would like to read it again just to kind of see if I am able to pick up on more things. But for the most part, it was I really missed Grayson. I really missed getting a Grayson POV. I so wish that we would have gotten a Savannah POV. Like I said, I knew going into it, I did not have high expectations for it going in, but I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. So I'll give it that. Also, I have to show you guys this because a lot of small bookstores were doing like promos where if you pre-ordered, you would get character cards. And the author had announced that there were a certain number of golden Grayson cards in the card packs, and I got a golden Grayson card, so that kind of made it worth it. That was worth the $24 right there, just getting the golden Grayson card. So that's where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode.